Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Howdy everybody, and welcome to the AOR F2 stream here in China. I am Austin. I am once again joined by James Costello. James, how are you feeling?
Excited. Last weekend in Bahrain was a super race, I was heard. So, yeah, the form should continue here in China tonight, where based off qualifying, anything can happen. And yeah, wet qualifying so far, so should be making up for a very good race.
Yeah, the qualifying is soaking wet, but before we head out onto track, how you feeling about Matt Podolsky after his first win? Did have the best race after not qualifying last race, and we did have a different winner at the front. It was a insane finish, almost at the line, side by side. Unfortunately, Zer did not get the victory after farther inspection, but it was that close.
He's actually not racing, from what I can tell, for the rest of this season. Actually bailed out on this season, which is quite interesting, because he definitely seems like he has the pace to compete with the front runners. Last weekend showed that, but it is 2-2 for McLaren. Podolsky and the champion of last season, THM, both with a win apiece. And they got a pretty comfortable lead in the Constructors' Championship as well. So they're looking to continue a very good form to start the season here in China.
All right, well, before we head down into the race, I want to say if you guys are interested in AOR, want to find out how to go into there, head into the description, and all of our links are down in there. So after that, let's head out onto track. All right, we're looking at actually Boom Sonic. He's just sitting slowly on the pit lane.
He's just letting some drivers who are starting their laps right now. It looks like it's gonna be full wet for the entire session. So drivers who have a wet setup, I've got the upper hand here compared to drivers who obviously weren't expecting such conditions. But I'm assuming if it is wet in the race, then you know there's going to be a lot of drivers struggling for grip, not just in qualifying but in the race also. But I'm looking at Ice Swiss coming through turn 9 and turn 10 now on his outlap. It does look incredibly tricky, as that's FK Gaming is actually off the road at the same place. So already a few drivers getting caught out straight away.
Yeah, Swiss, you can see him working that wheel right now. It's a little bit slippery through the carousel right now, and you need to have this corner absolutely pinned down, or else you're going to go flying off the track as, ooh, he's right on those curbs. But this back straight is going to be absolutely critical for following and other guys in the race. Because if you just head down in this and you get out of that draft, you're going to have a easy street. Because the draft here is so much.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of this track, oh, we have a car spun. That's a Haas. I believe that's Lazzaro.
Smidge. No,
Smidge.
Smidge. Dropped it in the final corner. Similar to what Giovinazzi did in the 2017 qualifying, but he actually managed to keep it out of the barriers and keep out of everyone's way. But his lap has been ruined.
Yeah, Mercedes behind him. I believe that was Julian. It was Julian almost having the exact same thing as everyone's coming across the line right. Oh, Speech has lost it again.
Don't think his setup is
suited for the wet.
Suited? No, not at all. He's been off track more than he's on track so far in this session. He's found a slave place to rejoin. Down in 12th place at the moment. Now down to 13th. Pretty much everyone now is starting to add their name onto the timing boards.
Yeah, timing boards are filled up. Let's take a look at last race winner. THM, he's coming down to this hard braking zone. In the way, getting this braking zone is going to be absolutely key.
It's a make or break situation to your lap. I mean, these final two corners, especially this one, where in the dry it's much easier to cut. But obviously there's more commitment through there. THM crosses the line and goes 6th fastest. Now, what I've been interesting as a teammate, when Julian actually spins, so I'm wondering where the car sideways on my screen. Yeah, it is the Mercedes in the 31.
Yeah, that is Julian.
I'm spun down towards turn 11, that is. But what's interesting is that Le Mans has gambled on the intermediate tyres. He's the only one so far. Everyone else opts with the wets. Keep an eye on him in this lap. See if he's faring these conditions a bit easier, or if he's just struggling a bit more for traction corners. But yeah, a bit of a gamble. The rain might stop. Might see intermediates at the end, but this early looks a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, a gamble is right there. He's actually riding these curves, but I'm looking at the rain. It's not as hard as it was at the very start. With 10 minutes left, it might actually be a good choice to go on to intermediates, but I would set a banker or a few bankers on the wets before I would gamble what Le Mans is doing. Certainly, you can see that dry line is forming where less of the water is. As Napadowski puts into the fastest lap currently, they won 47.235, and I believe the chat's gonna love that one.
Well, if the fans give drivers extra speed, it's certainly proving it, as Napadowski goes 5/10 clear of Ice Swiss in the battle for provisional pole position. 8 minutes gone in this qualifying session. Le Mans is coming through the tricky right-hander onto the back straight. He's done personal best so far on this lap, but not as quick as Napadowski, and not as really. I don't think the scramble to come out this early on the intermediate tyres has really paid dividends.
Yeah, it's a risky strat. He's the first one testing out the intermediate, so everyone's gonna be looking at him as, ooh, that's a big lockup. So I don't think that's really up to the tires that well. That's more braking points, but definitely the tires not up to the braking. But he's gonna finish out this lap, and we'll see what he does. Runs wide on the final corner and across the line. Le Mans sits in 16th place, a 149.5. So definitely a track not in intermediate conditions. But after the race, after about 5 minutes, we might start seeing a few drivers try it more. But it's
Possibly.
definitely looking a little bit lighter.
Yeah, so Lamont will back out on this in lap, and then probably, I mean, he might wait until the intermediates are certainly quicker than the wets. Obviously, drivers can tell that in their delta on the screen whilst they're in the garage. So obviously, Lamont saw it, or just decided he wanted YOLO it pretty much.
He asked
And
Jeff,
obviously,
probably.
yeah, Jeff being as unreliable as ever. There's more yellow flags in sector 3.
That
Probably
might,
just
no,
one
that
getting
was
out
not
of
from
the way.
Napadowski. Speaking of Napadowski, let's go on to an AOR hot lap with Napadowski. Coming out the front straight and into this long, tricky section. I like to call this snail corner because this long right-hander down the hill, a little short shoot into the second turn of this left-hander. Quick one off the corner, power onto the gas in the wet. You're gonna have to control the car. Even in the slick is pretty tricky. Coming up into this tight braking zone. Now this is a great overtaking opportunity. You might see a few guys send it up to the inside. Coming out of it into my favorite part of this track, the high-speed corners. Car is absolutely on the limit right now. You can feel the back end actually kicking out as Napadowski almost drifts it through that little transition line. And we got the double left-hander. Need to have this corner locked up for this small straight coming up into the carousel. Hard on the brakes, 90-degree corner. Actually goes uphill and a bit off camber. Then as you enter the carousel, you need to have your throttle on point right now, or else you're going to be spinning out, going a little bit wide. Napadowski actually runs onto the curb, but he's sitting in that draft down this long straight, so you can kick back, relax, have a cold one if you want. And the draft is definitely going to be important. We can actually feel Napadowski lifting off for this. But then it's into Showtime corner, also known as this massive hairpin. Is send it up the inside, up around the outside, or just try to avoid any further collisions. Out of the hairpin, and then through that 90-degree corner or into the pit lane.
Kind of ruined your commentary there for that lap, but yeah, Smeed was right in front of him actually. He was also on a lap. I'm surprised Napadowski didn't carry on because I thought he would have get a lot of benefit in the slipstream of the Haas down towards turn 14, but I think he made a mistake coming through that right-hander onto the straight, which made him abort his lap. But he's still on provisional pole, but you can see on the fitted, half the drive, he's even more than that, on the intermediates. Le Mans actually has gone up from 16th he was, to up to 10th. So I think it is time for the intermediate tyres to come out, and that's what Mr. Anker, Hadler, his teammate, and also Rainer and Kimmy's, and also Rick, they've all opted to go onto the green stripe tyres with 6 minutes to go this session.
Yes, it is. As Hadler, we're looking right now. He's on his little outlap as Napadowski switches it onto the intermediate tires. So everyone's going to try it. And I believe the weather is going to be 100% working with everyone, and these intermediate tires are the way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Julian is actually still on a lap on the wets, but I think he will bail into the pits. Martin G is in the pits. Sweet now comes in. Bulksan in as well, and Julian will follow suit, I imagine,
Yes.
as he does.
Don't mess up this pit exit like Lewis Hamilton did.
He can't. There's no gravel there.
Well, you can still hit the wall.
Potentially, yes. But the thing is, come the end of this session, that's probably when the conditions are going to be the best. Where there's going to be less rain, because it still is raining, but it's much lighter than it was before, which is opted for the intermediate tyres to be the tyres people go on. The drivers out last will be at a hefty advantage with drivers probably setting their best lap times now. Say if they make a mistake on their final flying lap, they're not going to be in the best shape come the end.
Yeah, we're looking at Rainer right now, and, well, if rain in his name, you'd think he'd be good in the wet, but he's currently sitting in 11th right now, but he's on his flying lap with the intermediates, and we'll see how he handles it. And he has a McLaren behind him on their outlap. I believe that might be THM.
You'd be right.
So Rainer's going to be leading off the first McLaren. And THM might have something to look forward to, but Rainer has one more corner to go. Where will he finish? 4 minutes left in his qualifying. Rainer comes across the line, second.
I thought it would be an easy pole, but no,
No.
clearly not. Time was definitely a good one on the wets. So maybe it's not much of a delta difference between the intermediates and the wets. Just yet at this moment in time, with 3 minutes to go, you'd expect time to tumble.
Yeah, time is definitely going to tumble, especially with the rain. Rain gets better track to the very last thing. So as Rick takes a new fast lap of a 146.891, first car in the 146 today, he actually smashed that time.
He did, and he's just under 4/10 clear of Napadowski, but he himself in the McLaren is now starting his flying lap. His teammate is coming through turn 6 and 7, and that's Kimi's now onto provisional pole. He replaces his teammate by quite some margin, some nearly
Mr.
6
Anka takes it by half a second. He's in the 145s.
Oh, really starting to come down now. He's 5/10 clear of Kimi's, who's 5/10 clear of his teammate. Napadowski was on pole a few minutes ago, is now 2 seconds nearly off the pace.
Yeah, I keep switching back to THM because I know he's ahead of his teammate. So we're going to use THM as a little bit of a marker to see where the times will be right now. With 2 minutes left in the session, THM's got a lot of cars in front of him going down this front straight. As for the race, I don't believe this will be a wet race.
Where's that source from?
No, I'm just guessing.
It would be an interesting one if it was a wet race.
I don't think it will be. As Rainer takes pole with a 145.59, and THM comes third.
Only third?
Surprise out there, but Rainer, after that first lap on the intermediate, is going to finish it off on pole. We're on board with Napadowski now, coming down the back straight into the hairpin.
It was 1.3 seconds quicker in Sector 2 alone, so the track is really coming alive now for all the drivers, and they have to maximize this on much better conditions, much better tires. They can't mess up these laps because they're going to be starting right down the field with their wet tire time.
Yes, they will. Napadowski takes both a 144.979, half a second ahead of Rainer. And Kimi's falls up right behind him in second place. Still half a second behind Napadowski. What a time.
Insane. He's the first man to dip into the 144s, but I imagine he and others can find time with the track getting better and the track evolving to better temperatures for these tires. But only 1 minute to go of this qualifying session. I didn't realize the track or the timing. So yeah, it is the last chance, last ditch efforts for everyone to get their best lap times in.
Yeah, I'm looking at Martin G right now. Bolkzad closes it up to Napadowski, but stays in the 145s.
Yeah, the drivers like Lazzaro, Etnickton, FK Gaming, and Smeed. They're going to be...
Swiss 144.936. 0.04 of a second separates Swiss and Napadowski. And Napadowski, he is still on a flyer of a lap.
And he's still improving, so... buckle your seat, but there's going to be an interesting end to this qualifying session. Nice, Sweet is still going again. He's got enough fuel and enough ERS to go again. Hadler now replaces Napadowski on the front row. And Martin G! 7/10 quicker than his nearest rival. Unbelievable. The track is getting so much quicker. And here comes Napadowski now out of the final corner. Can he snatch pole position from the Salbert of Martin G?
No. Does not get it. Half a second behind Martin G, and we were saying that Swiss is still on his lap, and look who is ahead of him. Le Mans is ahead of the Mercedes, and Le Mans is going to give Swiss all the draft that he needs.
And he's 2 tenths up as well, so don't discount the Mercedes. Don't discount pretty much anyone, apart from the drivers like Julian, Kimmys, and Napadowski, who are all done with this qualifying session. It could come alive to benefit some of the
Mr.
drivers.
Anka up to P2.
His teammates out of the running. He's run wide at turn 6 and 7. Just trying to see who's closest to ending their lap.
Suisse coming around the final corner. He's behind Le Mans and a Haas. Believe that might be Smeege ahead. But Le Mans going to be at the end of this draft train in that 97 car. So they're coming down the front straight.
Smeege goes second.
Smeege P2. Le Mans P4. Suisse P2.
Martin G still on his flying lap. He could even go quicker. Pole position looks likely for the Alfa Romeo. It was Rayner now. Goes second fast, even with a time with 4 lap-old intermediates. So those tires are definitely in good enough shape to do such a lap time. As now Martin G rounds the final corner in the final flying lap and goes even faster. A 1:43.7.
ETN snipes P2. ETN won the lap. He was down at 19th. And he takes P2.
From last to second, that is some effort, especially under the pressure he was with being last on the grid, and he pulls out a sensational lap, but still just under 5 tenths slower than Martin G. Take a bow. What a qualifying session it was for the Alfa Romeo. Being the sole Alfa Romeo, a bit of pressure on him as Zerd is not here to attend this race, and he's absolutely outclassed the field here in qualifying.
Well, here are your results for qualifying, and it's an absolute cluster. If you had said this qualifying order to me after Australia, I would have slapped you, because it's Martin G taking pole, followed by ETN, Rayner, Suisse, Flash, Smeege, THM, Mr. Anka, Le Mans, FK Gaming, Napadowski qualifying in 11th, followed by Rick, Hadler, Copy, Bolzan, Kimmys, Lazzaro, Juliet, and Boomsonic at the rear of the field.
Those two will be messing their laps up on the intermediate. They're starting, well, they won't be starting on the wets, obviously, but they set their best time on the wets. So obviously they made a mistake on their intermediate tires, and that pretty much ruled out any chance of getting a good qualifying result. And here we can see it is dry for the race.
It will be dry for the race, and we'll be right back on the formation lap after these messages. And we're back for the race. Session starting up very soon. It's going to be a dry race after a wet qualifying session. Your front row, ETN and Martin G gonna lead off the field. Napadowski starting off in 11th, so not the best in the wet apparently, or he just didn't have the best time, but it was so close throughout the field.
Yeah, and being a qualifying means everyone free choice of tire wear, and I'm assuming everyone is going to opt to start on the yellow striped medium tire. Actually, no. A mix of strategies between the mediums and the hards, especially Ice Sweet and Flash all the way up in 4th and 5th respectively. They're on the harder compound tires, so they might cause a train behind them of medium tire runners like Smeege, THM, and Anchor. Yeah, unsurprisingly, no softs shown at the moment.
Yeah, the rain really saved the strategy for everyone. It says the soft tires are just absolute hell to race with around here. You only got about 1 real lap with them, and then they're off into the dustbin.
Pretty much.
Look at that THM right now. He's pretty much in a little group of 3s, and it's a very interesting tire strategy because there's no like one person sticking out on a weird strategy. It's like 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. It sounded a lot like a little typewriter going off right now.
Yeah, it's like an orchestrated fixture, isn't it, of mediums and the hards, but crucial for the top 3.
Update from Julian. His PC has unfortunately gone dead. Yeah, he's in the pit lane. Julian is in the pit lane, and he won't be starting this race. F in chat. He was saying that he was around 1.5 seconds quicker in practice than a few of these drivers, but unfortunately for him, that wasn't going to be the case today.
That is a torrid time, especially from qualifying, and now he can't even start. That is a shame for the McLaren. McLaren needs in the Mercedes. Never mind. Excuse me. It's been a long week.
Been a long week for both of us, but it's a great way to end off the week and start off a new one with some great racing here at AOR F2 as all the drivers are lining up. We had a few disqualifications. Both the Williams car has been disqualified, but everyone is lining up and getting ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go racing here in China as the lights are coming on. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights, and away they go. And starting off the Chinese Grand Prix in style, everyone's side by side. Look at the fight for front. ETN and Martin G going side by side. Martin G holding off around the outside. Rainer is also following around as Carbon Fires will turn around. There's a Red Bull sideways, and that's Mr. Inca into the grass. And yeah, absolute chaos right now. They're going 3 wide in the backfield as Mr. Anka's joining back. Napadowski is still in 11th right now as absolute chaos is happening. Smee's jumped up a few positions. Rick has jumped up 5, and Napadowski is diving down on 2 cars. Both Williams falling down to the Russian Bear right now.
There was more Carbon 5 at the exit of turn 6. I think that was a Williams getting involved with FK Gaming. Yeah, but as you mentioned, Rick, an absolutely stunning start. And he's always pressurizing the Ferrari of Flash 224 and trying to gain 7 positions on the opening lap. Lazzaro also in similar fashion gains 5 positions after the best start to his season.
Massive crash. That's Bolzan.
Yep, he's way behind the pack. He must have had a spin somewhere in the middle section of the lap.
So they're coming down to the back straight, this massive straight. We're going to see a few moves, but I must say, I say this in iRacing all the time, you have a 28 lap race, can't really win it on lap 1, but Rick is certainly trying to go for it as he's making a move on Flash right now into the braking zone, and THM looking to follow back with him, and Rick gets the move into the braking zone, and here comes THM on the exit, but Flash is defending right there as they come down the front straight. Well, lap's done. Somebody's already flown into the pit lane. I don't know who that was.
FK Gaming.
It was FK Gaming. And they're going 3 wide down the front straight into turn 1. THM, Napadowski, and Le Mans. Napadowski's at the back of this fight following a Flash, but Le Mans came out of nowhere to snipe Flash to that position.
Yeah, Flash is struggling on the harder set of tyres, unlike his Mercedes counterpart i3. He's up in 4th place at the moment, the lead runner on those hard compounded tyres. Yeah, Flash losing quite a lot of positions, and Napadowski is the next one behind him, and McLaren needs to clear him because you can see his teammate and all the other drivers shooting off into the distance.
A little bit of understeer for Napadowski going into that corner, but Flash took a very wild line. Oh, Napadowski, the door's been open. And if you are a racing driver, if you see a door that's open, you're no longer a racing driver. And Napadowski is a racing driver, as it looks like one of the Williams went super wide out that exit, and Napadowski takes Flash. It was the Haas?
Yeah, that Sarah went super duper wide, and I'm surprised he didn't lose any positions. He's gone wide again through turn 13. Not invite Anchor to get alongside him just about. Let's see who's going to have less drag, less downforce down towards turn 14. I've got
They're going to go 3 wide right here. They're going to go 3 wide.
That's so very well, but can they keep her on the track? No, oh, they're still side by side. Anchor going to have to hang it around the outside. This is not a conventional overtaking place, and that's so gets a position back, but we'll have a big disadvantage down towards turn 1. And here comes Kimmy's now. I have absolutely no. Can Kimmy snatch, steal, to place up the order? Not quite. Lazzaro inside line. Kimmy's outside line. Anchor has the place on the half.
Lazzaro and Kimmy's got together.
They did, and Kimmy's just still alongside the Haas. Can't clear him just yet. Boomsong is waiting in the wings. Can Kimmy's finally get alongside and ahead of the Haasman down towards turn 6? He can. He's now up into 13th.
Yeah, and as I was going up, Rick has gotten above Smeege, and he's 7 places ahead, and Rainer and ETN are going side by side right now. The Racing Point and the Toro Rosso going side by side, but Rainer is having a few connection issues as he's jumping in and out of where he actually is on track. And ETN staying in second, but the battle for second is absolutely flying as Martin G is seeing this happen in his mirrors, and he's definitely going to be happy right now as he's already a second above.
Yeah, and that means no DRS for Nickton as he tries to pull away from the Toro Rosso of Rainer.
Rick?
It was Rick going extremely wide at the exit of turn 13.
It looked like he was taking a train to Bangkok on the Thailand Express right there, but coming into the hairpin move, ETN went for the defense on the inside, and Rainer sent it, but unfortunately had a lockup mid-corner, and ETN defensively took the inside route right there, and that came off very positive for Rainer, for ETN. Unfortunate for Rainer, but DRS is now enabled, and the fight is going to carry on.
Whilst you were looking at that, THM had got past his season 17 teammate Smeege in the battle for 6th place. Napadowski is right behind these two, as is Lemon as well. So Napadowski right back in the thick of the action here. Needs to make up for a pretty average start compared to his teammates. Make up for a few more places up the order. The championship leader he does. But yeah, Lemon.
Ooh, that's a very late turn in for Lemon. He went hard on the brakes, a little bit too deep. And that was a late apex turn in for Lemon right there. And Napadowski saw that, but he followed on Lemon as we're riding on board of Napadowski. Smeege having a little bit mid-corner disaster right there. A little bit of understeer as they're coming into this double left-hander. Lemon, he is looking primed for a move right now as THM's running away. Smeege goes wide. Lemon riding onto the curves. Napadowski is following him right there. Going to this tight 90-degree turn. All three of them go to stay in formation, but it's going to happen on this straight.
Ooh, Smeege has wing damage on the left-hand side. I don't know where he accumulated it. Probably turn 1 on lap 1, or lap 1 at least. But now that's why he's been so under threat from everyone else. As that's Rick getting past Ice Sweet in the battle for 4th place.
Here comes Napadowski and Lemon. They're going 3 wide into the hairpin. Napadowski gets his nose chopped by Lemon right there. No damage from Napadowski and no change of position right there as they went 3 wide. And absolutely nothing can be done about all 3 of these guys. Just battling so close with each other as they have another front straight to go down. DRS is enabled. Napadowski gets alongside Lemon. Lemon almost took a chop at Napadowski as they're going side by side into turn 1. They're still side by side. It's soft tires versus medium tires right now. Napadowski bullying his way as Lemon actually pushed Napadowski into the grass, not leaving any space. All the time you have to leave the space. But Lemon keeping it in P8.
And them two battling, surprisingly, they still lost absolutely no time. It's like, oh no, Ice Sweet is out. Well, he's left the session, hopefully has a backup invite. He was running so well, he's the highest runner of the hot tires. That is such a shame. I hope he can get back into the session ASAP and lose as little time as possible. There goes THM through into 5th place. Is the easiest overtake he's going to make in his whole career. But yeah, now these 3, who are still closely congested, will now take 6th, 7th, and 8th instead of 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yeah, these 3 are so close together, and actually Hadler and Kimmy's are joining up on this train. It's all aboard a name that Smeege liked to use last year, the Russian Lull Bus, as that train is forming up. And here comes Lemon. They're going side by side. Big lockout. Napadowski missed the entire corner. And these 2 are still going side by side. Do you think that was done?
The inside line. Oh, Lemon goes round the outside. It's a super move.
What a move.
Front wing damage. That required balls from Lemon to go around the outside of that corner. Such a quick corner as well. Napadowski tucked up right behind the rear of Smeege. He needs to clear the house as soon as possible with damage. Look at Hadler going around the outside. Surely he can't make that move stick and he backs out of it.
But Napadowski has just been in a massive pack right now. And the battle for the lead has actually came down. And now the 3 cars are back fighting at the lead. And we're going to switch over from this fight to the battle for the lead between Martin G, ETN, and Rainer. The DRS has absolutely helped these two stay with Martin G. And like I said, once you get rid of that draft, you're absolutely golden because they've caught up and closed off that 1 second gap and caught right back to Martin G.
Oh, Le Mans getting way out of shape on the exit of turn 10 there. Very lucky not to end up facing backwards there. Still keeps all of that in place, still trying to get past Ice who has disconnected. And unfortunately for him, I don't think there's any way he can get back into the session. We as spectators unfortunately cannot invite him. It's very unfortunate, but Smeed is still holding up a huge drain. Now Podolski has to clear him, and he should, with the benefit of DRS, clear him down towards turn 14 with the inside line.
It's going to be a, quote, double overtake as the non-existent Ghost right there jumps Napadowski up into 7th. And Le Mans is leading off the hard tires.
He's doing a very good job here, Le Mans. Still, Napadowski will be on his tail for the foreseeable future. Back at the front, he's only 3/10 behind Martin G. Hadler's got past Ice Sweet as expected. But yeah, Martin G seemed to struggle a little bit. Obviously, he did have that second advantage. It seemed like he was going to pull away from the chasing, especially with Etney and Rayner battling away. But no, both of them have caught up to the Alfa Romeo, as has Rick and THM langing in the background. Yeah, three-way scrap for the lead.
I would say the draft is very effective here down that front straight. You will catch up to the car in no time. If you're within 2 seconds of the car ahead, you will definitely catch up. And Rick and THM, this was going to be a 5-way fight for the lead if this group carries on.
Well, let's see what Egnickton can do down towards turn 14 with the benefit of DRS slipstream and using all the ERS. He's got a lot more compared to Martin G.
Yeah,
let's see if he has a benefit.
Closing down on Martin G by a mile into the braking zone. Lock up on the front right. Martin G pushed out wide, and you have a new leader on lap 7. It is ETN. I believe that's his first time leading a. That was very textbook. I believe that is his first time leading a AOR F2 race.
Yeah, I think so too. So hopefully he can convert that into a win. Still 20 laps to go of this race, and now Rayner waiting in the wing to try and pounce on Martin G's. Not slow because he's still in second place, but not as quick pace compared to the Pink Panther in the Racing Point ahead of him. And we're assuming that Etney is going to pounce away into the distance.
No,
that's what he hopes.
I don't believe. He hopes he's going to do that. He's finally put his car into the charging mode, and Martin G's definitely into his little remapping mode because he's been trying to pull away from the start, but now ETN is just pulling away as much as he's doing, but he's actually carrying along Martin G and Rayner as they're going to have a little bit of fight. Rayner just doesn't want to be held up by Martin G, and Rick kind of wants the opposite right now as he's within a second of these guys as well.
Yeah, it's definitely sprucing up to be a classic here in Shanghai and China, like it always is, to be honest. Season 17 race here in F2 was also an absolute cracker. Can Martin G get enough of that deficit to Etney to try and have a go down towards turn 14? You'd think no, unless Etney makes a huge mistake.
He's regenning this lap. This is definitely a regen map, and when he's going to the pits, you will know. He's going to put the hammer down and absolutely charge his way into the pit lane.
Speaking of pits, the pit window is going to open shortly, I'd say in the next 2 or 3 laps. For Smeej, it might open a bit earlier than that with his front wing damage, and he's really struggling here. He's been past the Red Bull of Hadler, and Kimmy's is now right on the tail of him, as is the two Ferraris will close up shortly. They're also on the hard compound tires.
Smeej going wide to turn 1. Here comes Kimmy's. It looks like Kimmy's is hunting him down, but Smeej has front wing damage. Kimmy's does not.
Smeej's teammate also has front wing damage. That's why he's lurking really far behind. He's not even got past the Ghost to Knife Swiss yet. So yeah, another nightmare race for Haas, but hopefully Smeej can turn it into a decent points haul. We'll have to wait and see how he's coping with the wing damage okay. but obviously he'll be much higher up without it.
Yeah, the 5-car fight at the front has come in. 1 second still separates Rick and THM, but they're definitely at the tail end. As actually, they just came into the 1 second. But like I said, the draft is definitely working for Rick and THM as they have joined this group at the front.
Don't discount Napadovsky. He's now in clean air now, and can push some decent lap times before the pit window, and now close up to the guys ahead of him. Kimmy's now got past Smeed, unsurprisingly down the back straight there, and Smeed, that's another one who has passed him, but he's still running in the points crucially. But yeah, Kimmy's easy pass for the Renault.
Very easy pass for him right there. We're still looking at the front. The draft, Napadowski's not being affected by the slipstream as he's hovering around that 4 seconds. But when he gets into about the 2.5 seconds, he will be affected and it will start closing up slowly over time as we are watching these guys at front. Still pretty much in order. And I believe they're all saving up fuel as we see all the region lights blinking on and off. The other one who I haven't seen is Rainer's.
Yeah, Rick's lost a bit of time here in the battle for the lead of the race here. He's now outside of DRS range from Rayner, and now THM is inside of his DRS range. So good to see a swap for 4th place. Rick going wide, THM going wider out of turn 10 there. Yeah, the top 3 separated by just over a second. Rick 1.2 seconds further back with THM hot on his tail. Napadovsky in pretty much clean air in 6th place with Lamont behind him doing a very good job on his hard compound tyres, followed by another hard runner of Hadler. Kimmy's in 9th and Smeed rounding out the top 10. The 2 Ferraris of Flash and Boomswag in 11th and 12th. Buxton in 13th, behind them Kopi in 14th. Swiss Ghosted still on 15th, Latsura in 16th, Anka and FK Gaming both making on schedule pit stops, running way outside of the order down at 17th and 18th. And Julian, well,
His engine blew up.
Hasn't even raced. Yeah.
Unfortunate. It's been a very unfortunate season for Julian. He had a good race 1. It was his race 2 and 3 where it's absolutely gone into the hill. This is our first pit stop is by Smeesh. He's going to replace his front wing and take a fresh set of hard compound tires.
Yep, stops on his marks, and as you can see, the Haas mechanics are putting a new front wing on him, and he should come out behind probably both Anka and FK Gaming. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be close between him and the Williams. Might emerge just ahead of him. Let's see, down towards turn 1. It's going to be close, but actually no, FK Gaming does emerge ahead, so Smeed is technically running in last place. So a lot of work to make up with that nose change.
We were talking about that. We're still watching the fight for first place, and it looks like Rayner is dropping away from the pace of the guys at the front. The tire wear is slipping away from Rayner, and that gave Rick the perfect opportunity to catch him up.
Yeah, Rayner's now outside of DRS range, but still getting it because during the section zone he was a second behind Martin G. But Martin G really closing up to the back of the Pink Panther in the racing point of Nickton.
I believe Martin G's on an in-lap right now. He's setting up for an in-lap because he's definitely put the power down. And here goes Rayner and Rick both racing into the pit lane.
Well, don't speed, boys, and thankfully they don't for their sake of their race. But now they're triggering the undercut on the guys ahead of them, like Martin G, like Nickton. Even if these guys are racing, they're going to have to pump in a fantastic in-lap. Otherwise, they're going to be under threat from the Toro Rosso and the Renault.
Yeah, pitting earlier does have a certain advantage, especially in low tire wear, but they were pulling away a second already in that lap, and especially with that draft is going to be very good. Speaking of penalties, I don't think anyone's received a penalty yet in this race.
I'll check for you.
I didn't see
might be right.
any notification.
You're right. No one has actually picked up. People have been close, But yeah, very clean race so far. Even lap 1 was quite clean. Obviously, we saw the Red Bull of Anchor go off the track, and a few people have picked up a bit of front wing damage. But apart from that, no major crashes. Very clean race so far. Hopefully, it continues towards the second part of this race.
Martin G sitting in the draft of the ETN. He's at 4 ERS right now, switching it up to 0 actually into the braking zone, recharging that ERS bar. ETM carrying out wide. Martin G absolutely nailing that apex as they're heading up into the pit lane. Are they going to pit? ETM pits. Martin G pits.
THM in the pits as well. Napadowski going to have to carry on. So I hope he has the tyres to continue. Le Mans unsurprisingly continues, as is Hadler as well.
You hear the crowd going wild. I believe that's what chat is, as I love saying this. Not leading the race is the Russian bear himself, Matt Podolsky.
Right, let's see where everyone comes out. Rayner, thankfully for him and Kim, he's come out in a breath of fresh air. Here comes Etney out of the pits. Martin G has been jumped by both. Oh no, Rick is behind him, but Rayner has made the undercut work on the Alfa Romeo, and he's ahead of Martin G, but behind Nick Nickton. So Martin G might have had a bit of a slow stop there because he was right on the tail
ETN's jumped
of the Force
everybody.
India.
ETN's in first. ETN came out in 8th. He jumped Martin G in the pit lane. The Racing Point pit crew absolutely came out on top as ETN is net leading the race.
He was ahead of Martin G before the pit stops, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Okay, so he's still ahead of him, and he's ahead of Rayner now. Obviously, with Rayner having a bit warmer tyres, and he needs to warm up a little bit, so he could be under threat from the Toro Rosso. Down towards turn 14. This is for the net lead of the Grand Prix, remember, as the top 7 still yet to make their pit stops. And he already sees the threat from the Toro Rosso behind him, going defensive now, switching back to the racing line. Is the Toro Rosso going to try for a move down towards turn 14?
No, he's way too far back.
You're a psychic.
Hey, I know my racing. Napdowski heads into the pit lane. I believe he'll fall into 13th place, 12th place. They're coming down the front straight. DRS is all enabled. Napadowski coming out of this pit stop. Where will he come out?
12th. Again, you're a psychic, Austin.
I should get paid for this. Ooh, a little bit of issue for ETN. You see his cars jumping off as we're going to switch back to our tire viewer right now as everyone's on the hard tire. That's why I had it on the pit stop counter right now. But you can see on how long people have been out. Why is he Sweet still in 13th?
Now, what I'm looking at is the fact that Etney is only 1.2 seconds behind Bulksan. It's going to approach a lot of traffic here because these guys are still going to run for about 5 laps more before putting on the medium tyres to run to the end. Le Mans is in great shape here to take some good points here. If you can just pump him some decent lap times in the fresh, clean air, along with the Rebel of Hadler, don't discount them out for maybe taking 5th, 6th, maybe even 4th if some of the drivers get into some incidents. But yeah, everyone's pretty much lining a stern. I say that. There goes Rayner through on at Nickton, and he takes 7th place before they head into the braking zone. He just about manages to get it slowed down for the corner, and that is the McLaren
Martin
of THM going really wide.
Martin G got ahead of Rick and THM as well, getting up above. Oh, nope. Rick and THM as pit stops for the hard tires is now coming in. But Rick and Martin G getting very close to each other, and Martin G, I believe, jumped up a few positions.
Yeah, he did. Now with Bulksan and Flash pitting, Rayner has been promoted to 5th place. Obviously, it is the net lead of the Grand Prix. Now they got 3.5 seconds to the nearest car ahead of him, which is Kopi in the Racing Point. So he might try and help his teammate if
Kopi's in
he
a
can
fight.
make his time last.
Kopi is in a fight for 3rd, though, with Boom Sonic. And they're not within the 2.5 seconds, but if Kopi tries to make some of that gap is going to shut down very far, as Hadler and Le Mans are pretty much on their own right now. Both of them are in each other's drafts, so they're going to be going faster than everybody else, but these are the hard tires that didn't really have the best starting positions.
Yep, it's got a long durability, has these hard tyres, so obviously everyone who's pitted onto these will last to the end of the race. But here comes S18 again. He's in the slipstream, it's in the draft, as you mentioned, of the Toro Rosso ahead of him. But he's in low ERS, so he's not going to try for a move down towards turn 14. Copy, though, is going to try a move on Boom Sonic. You're alright, Hadler doesn't follow him, so Hadler now takes the lead of the Grand Prix, and he's going to go for a lap longer at least. Boom Sonic doesn't pit, Copy does. So, whether he wanted to try and help his team out, he really couldn't. He now comes into pits. He couldn't make his tyres last any longer. As that is THM setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Remember, 1 point is added if you are alien to the new F1 2019 regulations. THM will indeed pick up that point if everything stays as it is, but I doubt it, considering we're going to have some soft runners at the end. No, medium runners at the end.
Yeah, we are going to have some medium runners right now, and my bet for the fast lap will probably have to be Le Mans or somebody pitting onto the soft tires after an incident.
But it goes to the top 10, remember, so
Well,
Sarah running in no man's land can't do it. And he finally gets past the Mercedes.
Oh, we got a yellow flag.
Oh,
Sector
Smeej is
1 and 2, that was Smeej. Another spin for Smeej, and he's going to come out, and FK Game is going to swing around him, and he falls down with his teammate into 16th and 17th. Also, there was another yellow flag, but this is something I've never seen before. Both Mercedes down to 18th and 19th.
Yeah, Total Wolf and Gunter signed 2 men I would not want to see if this was a real life replica. It'd be good for Netflix at least.
Oh yeah, great for Netflix right now. And the table salesman.
Yeah, anyone involved in the Netflix are going to be licking their lips at this, but also there's battle for the lead of the race here. He's still putting pressure on the Toro Rosso of Reino, who's coping with the pressure very well, as Boom Sonic is now the next to come into the pits in his Ferrari. And THM again setting the pace. He's closing up to the back of Rick after he made that mistake at the penultimate turn there, going very wide.
Napdosi's caught up to the back of this train.
About to mention that 2.5 seconds, so he will get the draft down towards turn 14. So don't discount him out, especially if these guys are going to battle. They're going to lose time over time. And Nabadowski will just be waiting.
There's our first penalty. Letzero picks up a 5-second penalty, and I want to say something. Napadowski has the least amount of tire wear on all these tires. He pitted later than everyone on the mediums.
You're right. Wow. That's going to come in very handy towards the end of the Grand Prix. Not now, but yeah, definitely at the end.
Le Mans is also with Napadowski, so he will be battling with Le Mans, and that'll be great for guys up at the front of this battle. Martin G, Rainer, ETN. They will have battles headed on the back of them, so they will just have to worry about one guy instead of 5.
Yeah, everyone down to 6th place within a second of each other. So we've got a 5-car battle for the lead. Could be 6, and Nabadowski can join them, and maybe even Le Mans. So it could be a 7-way train for the lead of the Grand Prix, with lap 17 coming towards the end, and Hadler now comes into the pits to pit onto the medium tyre. So that promotes Rainer back up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Rainer has never been in this position before, leading an F2 Grand Prix, that's for sure. Neither has Nixon. Martin G obviously was at the front last time out in Bahrain, so he has experience in this sort of position. Knows when to battle and when to just sit back and just wait for an opportunity to arise. And at the moment, nothing is really happening just now, but I'm sure it'll all come alive at the end.
Yeah, Martin G's also been in this position a lot of times. Not in the PCF2, but in other platforms we've seen him racing. And he's definitely just sitting behind ETN. But speaking of ETN and sitting, that's not what they're doing, as Rainer is pulling away from everyone. Rainer is absolutely gassing it right now.
Oh, there's Rick going wide again, trying to maximize the track and lose as little time as possible here. As the train bunches up through that very slow turn 11 and 12 and onto the back straight. We can see them all come out onto this long kilometer back straight here. Rayner followed by Etney, followed by Martin, followed by Rick, followed by THM. And Napadovsky still gaining time a little bit, but not enough to get within that DRS range, and Le Mans following suit.
Now Le Mans, he set the fastest lap of the race, and I believe he's going to set one again as the front group is coming down the front straight.
Yeah, he does. Austin, what is about you with your psychic powers?
Statistics.
I mean, it was predictable. Le Mans is showing some incredible pace at the moment, and Napadovsky will have to look in his mirrors more than looking ahead of him. Oh, nearly losing it coming out of turn 3 there. He has to be more aware of that, especially he needs to catch up to these guys than battling.
Actually, there are two groups forming at the front. Rick and THM are falling back from the front three. So Rick is obviously struggling with some dirty air problems. He's still in contact with the guys up front, but look at Martin G and ETN. These guys are so close with each other.
It's great seeing it through these complex corners because it's so slow that you could probably cover a blanket over all of them. They're that close together, but as you said, Rayner is really starting to pull away. And look at this then. Nickton already going extremely defensive because Martin G is gaining. Is he gaining enough to go down the inside? Nope, because then he covers it off.
Martin G around the outside, but he's overcooked and he almost took out Rayner, actually, as they're coming along.
Oh, THM and Rick are side by side. THM with the inside line for the final
Rick's
corner.
In the grass. Rick's in the grass, forced go off wide. He comes out right ahead of Napadovsky, and Napadovsky is going to snatch him up like that. Napadovsky and Rick side by side. Hadler takes the new fastest lap right behind Le Mans, but now Napadovsky has someone to play with.
Yeah, and just you wait. If he has an opportunity, he's going to go down your inside or outside. He's going to try these best take a place.
Going down the inside. Here comes Martin G.
Couldn't quite make it stick. It's not. Yeah, and he placed his car in the perfect place to make sure Martin G only had a sniff of that second place, but not a full taste.
This is not good for Napadovsky because look who's gaining half a second on his tail end right there. Le Mans is right behind a Napadovsky, and Rick is leading this train.
But it's also not good for Le Mans because he can see all those guys who are starting to struggle on their hard carbon tyres, and he does not need a slow Renault holding him up. And the Renault goes extremely wide, as Enny is again making some interesting lines on this back straight, trying to reduce the deficit or make it even bigger for himself over Alfa Romeo of Martin G. But yeah, Le Mans tried to move there, couldn't quite make it stick. Look at Napadovsky. So yeah, Rick is starting to hold these guys up dramatically. I wonder if he picked up some front wing damage with that collision with the other McLaren of THM.
I don't see any damage on Rick's wing. Maybe a little bit of chip on the end plate, but Napadovsky around the outside on Rick. But Rick holding it off mid-quarter. Rick goes wide mid-quarter. Napadovsky staying out of contact, but unfortunately couldn't make that move stick, and Le Mans is right on the tail of the Russian.
I'll be so frustrated in Le Mans cockpit because you can see the leader, but he just can't seem to find an opening, as neither can Napadovsky. So Napadovsky is holding the Williams up, and time is running out. Only 7.5 laps to go of this race. So not a lot of time for him to clear 6 cars.
Here goes Le Mans. Oh my goodness, Le Mans comes into the back end of Napadovsky. Le Mans setting it up to the inside, trying to find any groove that he can, but he cannot do it as FA Gaming picks up a 3-second time penalty. But Le Mans falls way back from behind Napadovsky after taking a very cautious line to avoid contact. We're going to switch back to Martin G and ETN as these two are still battling out for second and going down to the inside as Rayner is flying away in the lead. And as they're going down to the inside, Rainer just stays up there, and that's hurting ETN as well. Into the break zone, Martin G once more around the outside, but this time he's going to stick it. And on the exit, Martin G, he's now onto the inside of the track. Martin G side by side with ETN. They're still side by side going to the final corner, but Martin G takes second.
Well, I thought Etney still being in DRS of Rainer was going to be a saving grace, but clearly not. Back to the battle for fifth, going defensive on Napadovsky, but Napadovsky can't fire opening.
LeMond in the grass, and LeMond spun around. He tried to go for a gap that was physically impossible for any car, maybe a moped, but there was no gap right there for LeMond.
LeMond lost his patience, stuck behind those two, and as he said, went for a closing gap, and yeah, couldn't stop the car from spinning. And
I don't even think there was even a gap attemptable there.
Yeah, he was trying a bit too optimistic there, LeMond, and it's cost him a chance of a possible podium in this race. Definite top 5 at least. But now he's still in contention, obviously, but with that spin, his tyres aren't going to do any good whatsoever. And Hadler is now ahead of him, so that's another car he's going to have to get past for Hadler. If he can close up to the back of these two, I think being in VP, obviously having a much more experience in Le Mans in sim games, then he should be better fit to try and have a go at these two. But Napadovsky's still going to try again. Round the outside of turn 14, Rick gives him just enough room.
On the switchback though, Napadovsky is going to try to get the better exit, but he's just going to sit behind Rick and now try for a uncontested move. Doesn't have to worry about a car behind him going into turn 1, but these two are struggling for grip. And with Rick diving down to the very inside, he's missing the draft of the group ahead of him, and that's what ETN was doing. And with no speed and draft to catch up, as they're just parking it onto the apex right now, they can't catch up to THM, as they're now 2.6 seconds behind of this leading group.
And it's 1.6 seconds separating first down to fourth, with Martin G really putting the pressure on the Toro Rosso of Rainer. You can clearly tell why Martin G has been picked to be one of the best in this season, because he's, in the second and third races, he's really been at the front end of the pack here in the F2 PCF2 league, and he could be on course if he can nail these final couple of laps and these final couple of corners of this lap. He could be on course for his first ever win here in F2.
In PCF2, definitely.
Yeah. And
we will have in 3 different winners, unless THM and Napadovsky pulls back up to first. But it is so unpredictable. Martin G sizing up Rainer, but he's not making a move right now. Oh no, he touched him. Oh, and he's punted him out of the way. And now Martin G went for a move that he was not setting up. Also, Napadovsky, as we're covering that, gets past Rick.
Does Martin G have wing damage? I'm trying to look.
No, he does not. I didn't see any carbon fiber, maybe a little bit of scratch here and there. These front wings are much more durable, and as we get that little sweeping shot, no end plate damage that I can see. And ETN and THM have their own mini battle into the back of this pack.
Martin G is a lucky soul. He could have easily just lost an end plate there, and any chance of a podium would have gone right down the drain into the sewage system, to be honest. But thankfully for him, he's still in second and still mounting the pressure on, as THM is also mounting the pressure on the fourth racing point of Nick. Napadovsky now clears the Renault of Rick.
And he's in that draft.
He'll try and catch up to his teammate and the top 3. Hold on to your horses, folks. This is going to be an exciting ride, the last 5 laps of this race.
Yeah, if you have any popcorn in the microwave right now, you better pull it out, because it's already going to be popping.
I wish I did have some popcorn, because I'm really looking forward to an action-packed final 4 laps of this race. Rainer leading from Martin G and Etney and THM in 4th.
Thankfully, as you mentioned that, you can watch all AOR races on replay in full, as they are uploaded directly to YouTube after our live stream, so you don't need to be here constantly watching the race live and enjoy the race in all of its glory. at your own pleasure.
What you should do right now. Don't switch off.
Oh yeah,
don't turn
switch
away
off.
from this.
Actually, get people in here.
You don't often see the top 9 separated by 1 straight. And that's exactly what's happening. You can see the battle for 6th place here. Rick having to hold off Hadler in the battle between the Renault and the Red Bull. Obviously, both. Actually, no, Hadler is on the medium compound tyres. Rick again is really struggling on those older set of hards.
And
Still keeping the Red Bull at bay.
I want to point something out. The top 8 are within 5 seconds of the leader.
So it's still possible for Le Mans to, you know, get a decent result from here on in. But I'm pretty sure none of these top 8 have penalties.
No one has a penalty in the top 8. The only one that I know has a penalty is Bulksan.
Wow, I mean, I thought it would be much harder if we got penalties here.
You know that one group? They're all together now. This is a 8-car group for the lead.
They're all within DRS range, you're right. He's just dropping out, but he will get a DRS benefit down towards turn 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars separated.
And the battle for the front.
Half a straight.
Here comes Martin G setting up onto the inside. Almost parks it into the side of Rainer's side pod right there. Another avoidable contact that they do not have.
Oh, no, Rainer.
And Rainer still under pressure by Martin G. Martin G is going savage right now with 2 laps to go. No, 3 laps to go here in China as very dicey into the first quarter. But Martin G is going to lead off this lap.
Yeah, Rainer, don't think put up too much of a fight there. Maybe thinking that, well, any chance of the win is gone at this point. I mean, surely with 3 laps to go, you defend for all your life.
He's going to
for your first win.
For the last lap dash.
You think so, but he can't make any more mistakes. If he does, he'll fall into the clutches of Nickton, THM, and Napadowski behind. So, all right, Martin's already starting to pull up pretty comprehensively clear. 7/10 now, as Rainer now might get swallowed up by the guys behind him.
This is the first attempt of a sprint away by Martin G, and he's going to try to pull a second gap, but he's unfortunately going to do that on the straight, and he's just going to hope for mad chaos as we see Napadowski joining his teammate of THM in 4th and 5th at the back of this train as they're coming down the very back straight. DRS is now open for Rainer, ETN, THM, Napadowski, and looking back, I see ETN and THM closing in on Rainer as there's a few cars going all over the place. Napadowski almost went for his teammate right there, but Martin
He might do again.
Oh, here it comes Napadowski for the inter-teammate battle heading on right now.
Hadler's got past Trick as well in the battle for 6th. Here comes Le Mans now. Attempt 2. He couldn't pull it off. Bad memories from here. Bit of PTSD for Le Mans, but he does it. Oh, on the outside. He's going to have to get a second bite of the cherry.
Rick is still fighting back. Rick!
Oh, bit of wheel banging.
Rick kept the position back. He fought it into P2 as they're going to this tight corner. Le Mans laid on the brakes into that corner, riding up onto the curb. Gets ahead of Rick, but now Rick on the exit. Rick's pushed Le Mans! And Le Mans pushed Rick off the track, and I think this might get very disastrous very soon. Because there's a big shove from Rick on that exit.
He's battled so hard that now Le Mans is outside of DRS range. Rick is going so wide. I think he's pushing the limits too much of his car at the moment, and fair play. And he's defended very aggressively but fair. I mean, that move at turn 6 was pretty much like what Ricciardo did to Bottas last season. But Le Mans got the job done.
To his second behind a Martin G.
He has, and now he's falling into the clutches of the Force. I keep on saying Force India. God, Racing Point of Nickton, and they're both McLarens. Actually, Hadler.
Napadowski went wide into the brake zone, and Hadler snatched it up, but Napadowski is going to fight it back and retake that position. But Hadler jumping up into the fight, and Napadowski, unfortunately, is going to be in another battle with another Red Bull. But Napadoski holding up onto the inside, and I believe he will have the grip to keep Hadler on his toes, but they're just in formation right now.
Hadler dives down the inside. He's having another go at him.
Hadler on the medium tires, I must say, as THM loses his back end just a little bit. But now Napadoski and Hadler going to go side by side. Hadler defending onto the inside. Napadoski late onto the brakes, but Hadler had a lockup, and Napadoski is going to snipe back on P5.
I've got to say, this has been one of the best races for racing I've commentated in my entire life. It's been such good racing, and thankfully everyone's kept it clean, so clean that the top 8 can barely be separated. Only 5 seconds it is, but crucially for Martin, he is just outside of DRS range.
Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention, this is the last lap.
I didn't realize that myself, so it's the last chance for everyone to try and close up. I don't think any moves are going to be happening because you can see Etney is too far away. Arena with no DRS.
Is he still going to send it?
Etney's going to close up. Here comes THM. Etney can't do anything about it, so that means that as we approach the final corner, Martin G rounds it, and for the first time in his AOR career, sees the checkered flag and will win the Chinese Grand Prix. Rayner comes home in second, Nickton third, THM fourth. Look how 8 of them have crossed the line. 4.5 seconds separated 8 of them. Wow. What
Everyone
a race.
was within a second of each other except for Rayner at the front. But it's celebration time for Martin G as he becomes the 3rd different winner in 3 races in AOR PCF2. What a race we have seen today.
Yeah, no, there's quite a few guys off the pace. Smeege crossing line in 14th ahead of his teammate, and FK Gaming having a battle. We're sorry to all these guys who haven't really seen a lot of their cars on camera today. Unfortunately, the top 8 have been too engrossed in a battle for these guys to have any say on things. But FK Gaming comes home in 15th, Latsera home in 16th. Was that a car on the side of the track? It was. I think it's Mr. Anchor. Yeah, it is. Swiss comes home in 17th, Flash in 18th, and Julian did not even start. But yeah, what a race that was. 3 races, 3 different winners. McLaren still get a decent point sold, but it is the first win of the season outside of McLaren. There's a flying wing there. Of THM.
There's just some antics right now. Everyone's giving Martin G just a little bit celebratory kisses as they finish off this race. But 3 cars moved up 7 positions in that race. Hadler was the farthest one up. Napadoski went up 6 places, but standing on top of the podium, driving for Alfa Romeo, it is Martin G as they spray the champagne.
I'm happy for Martin G, you know. I really am. He's finally got the win he deserves, to be honest. He's had such good pace at the start of the season. And there we go, on the top step of the podium. Rayner, I think, will be a little bit gutted to not get the win in the end, but second is still a good result. And Nickton, solid pace throughout the race and completes the podium.
Yeah, your final results is Martin G taking the victory, followed by Rayner, ETN, THM, Napadoski, Hadler, Lamont, Rick, Kibbies, Bulkzed, Copy, Boob Sonic, Mr. Inca, Smeesh, FK Gaming, Letzero, Swiss, Flash224, and Julian at the very end. We'll be right back in the interview room after these short messages.
Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created...
And we're back in the interview room right now. We have Martin G right here. We're getting Lamont and Julian also in here right now. A little bit of confusion happened. May have accidentally dragged Hypers in here at one point. But we have Julian, Lamont, and Martin G right now. Martin G, congrats on the victory.
Thank you very much.
So, it was never looking like who was going to win until the very last moments. On lap 27, you dove it out of Rayner and took the lead and just started falling away. Was that planned?
Yeah, I just saw that like he wanted to, like he was running very low on ERS probably because he was so slow on the straight line. So I just went for it because like I thought that I'm faster and I can like pull away. And that's what I did, and yeah.
All right. Speaking of being faster and pulling away, on the medium tires, Lamont, you had a lot of pace, and you closed up to that front pack, and unfortunately, you had a little bit of an incident with Napadowski going into turn 1 and riding onto the inside of curb. Lamont, what happened?
Well, what quality happened, and that's basically everything. But in that case, it was my fault because I was so frustrated that, you know, Harder is coming, and basically, yeah, I just went for it because I was amazed how can't he just, you know, make this move happen for a lot of time. He should have made it like 3 times already, so I just went for it. There was a space, but he closed it, and we made contact, so basically I spun, so that was my chance of good result over, but then I just tried to recover over to Creek, and P7 is the same debut as I had last year, and that season was pretty good, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. James, any questions for our 2 drivers?
Nope. Just yeah, great race from everyone.
We also have Julian in here. Julian, want to explain what happened at the start of the race? We saw some fire in your pit box. What happened? I believe everything is still...
That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Julian, for that insightful knowledge. I believe he's getting stuff working right now. How about
Hello?
now? Yes, there you are.
Yeah, my mic wasn't working. I hope the quality isn't bad because I'm on my phone right now, but...
We can hear you.
Yeah, good. Well, I don't have much to say. In qualifying, I was improving by quite a bit. I think I would have been inside the top 10, I don't know. Then I blue screened, and then I tried to restart my PC, and that didn't work. Then my HDMI wasn't working like earlier today. And I've tried everything. I tried to turn it back on, off, turn the cable in and out, and try another cable. And literally everything I tried, but nothing worked. So I don't know. I think my PC is just dead right now. So hopefully it's not actually broken and that I can fix it for next week. But I don't know what else to say. I'm just really disappointed and sad at the same time.
That's unfortunate. You've had 2 races. The last 2 races have just been very hard for you. The first race, your best one. Hopefully, next one is a better race. But being Baku, it's you can't really predict that one.
Yeah, you can't really predict what my PC is gonna do. So I just hope that I can actually race, and if I can race, then I'm just not gonna try anything stupid. I'm just gonna finish Baku, and that's it. I don't care about points then anymore. Just wanna finish.
All right. James, anything you want to say before we head off?
I just hope the racing, listen, yeah, really enjoyable to watch.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for your time in the interview room. Martin G, once again, congrats on the win. Thank you, everybody in our chat, for tuning in. I've been joined by James Costello. I'm Austin I, and I hope y'all have a good night.